Nigeria will be reviewed at the 72nd session in November of the convention in Geneva. It's been said that in the absence of this report as a country, that Nigeria will still be reviewed. So they have reached out to civil society organizations, those of us working around public safety, security issues, PRAWA and the Clean Foundation, to share with them a CSO report. So a CSO report is like a shadow report of what the state of torture is and if there have been progress around, and then also call on governments to also send its own report. When we talk about torture, we shouldn't be pointing accusing fingers just to the state agency alone. You have private individuals, so you have people like you and I that will get domestic servants and subject them to inhuman treatments. You also have people that are in the custody of state security actors that are treating these persons as less of a human. So these are some of the issues that we're trying to put together, that these things still happen despite the fact that we have ratified the laws, but that we are putting some measures in place to address them. So I'm sure that if you're speaking to a government partner, they will also tell you some progress that they are making in terms of addressing the issues. Institutionally, there are also oversight bodies that are trying to oversight these various security agencies. Yes, we have those structures in place, but are they effective enough to ensure that torture actually ends in Nigeria? So it's also a call to those various government agencies that you need to play more oversight, holding these men to account, that if there have been rights violation by any police officers, by any civil defense officers or what have you, you must hold these persons to account. It is possible to end torture. First, you have to recognize that this person you're inflicting torture on is a human person like you. So if you look at the Universal Declaration for Human Rights, each and every one of us have our rights.
Nigerians didn't know what torture was. Our people were not tortured. We didn't have prisons. We didn't have prison system until the coming of the white man. So torture is not even something you need to say Nigeria has it and it's not in other countries. It's there, it's everywhere. But what we are saying is that it is wrong. Human beings, your fundamental rights are rights that accrue to you for simply being a human being. And the right to dignity is one of the most fundamental of them. And torture is a deviation from that right. And what we are saying is that no matter the country where you are or your location, you should not be tortured. No human being should be tortured.
When somebody keeps getting into an action that is wrong with the knowledge that no punishment will come, or there won't be, nobody will even catch him, you see that such crime is continually perpetrated. So what we are looking at is utilizing, so you see the impunity and the systemic nature of torture leads to a very big problem, that of not getting justice at the right time. And of course we know that justice delayed is justice denied. So what does rehabilitation do, especially mental, social rehabilitation? What it does is that it keeps a victim or a survivor going, surviving until when that justice will come, so that the person is properly debriefed and we reduce, because one of the thoughts we are having around torture is that people keep engaging in torture because they themselves may be having some mental or psychological challenges. It could be people that have gone through that process and it's part of their experience. Torture can be physical or psychological. So they are now using it, and the trauma they went through to, give that out back to other people in the society. So that's why rehabilitation is a critical element, and it is actually missing in black and white in the Anti-Torture Act. So our hope is that once opportunity for the amendment of that act comes, it will come with a provision on rehabilitation of victims. Already we have a provision on compensation, reparation, but the rehabilitation should be captured clearly so that we will have government, systems providing rehabilitation to torture victims.
The curriculum in schools should also promote things like this, okay? We are also thinking that groups such as the National Orientation Agencies, the Ministry of Information and Ministry of Education, Ministry of Women and Gender, should actually involve itself, including, and I know that civil society organizations are also doing their bit, but the key thing is that we must remember that the civil society organization cannot take over the role of the government. We want to encourage government. We want to advocate for government. We want to support and get them to do the needful. So yes, it is right that we must make sure that everybody who needs to know these things need to know it. So for example, there is something that is called the Istanbul Protocol. The Istanbul Protocol is it's a protocol that teaches more about how to document torture. So there are provisions that medical doctors should know, provisions that lawyers should know, provisions that psychologists should know. So we want the Istanbul Protocol to be mainstreamed in the curriculum of medical practitioners or lawyers and psychologists. And on no basis should torture be used to get information from anyone. We think that if we need to make sure that forensic equipments are put for the police, we need to make sure that proper investigative policing, it should be made. We need to encourage the proper relationship between the community and security agencies so that they can give them information, the proper surveillance done, use of technology. There's so many things you can do to be able to get information that will enable you to find out who have committed a crime. Because when you torture people, they can tell you that they have committed a crime which they did not, because they want to stop the pain. It depends on one's pain threshold. You can even see some criminals, they are hiding, you are torturing them, and they won't do anything. You won't even know that they are the ones. So the essence is that we are saying no, don't use torture as a means of extracting information. By the way, the Evidence Act have said that if you do so, that information you collected cannot be admitted as an evidence. Okay, so we said it's not good, let's not do that. But there are different ways that you can still get information and do the needful.